Morning everybody and welcome. It's great to see you here this morning, and thank you very much for coming along to listen to me talk a little bit about how I think that technology is going to revolutionise the transportation industry in the UK. So, let me see if this works. Yep, fantastic. Okay, I believe that we are entering a really different era in the transport sector, an era where new technology, product services and fundamentally shifting customer expectations are all creating demand for a more efficient and a much smarter transportation network. Not only will technology revolutionise the way that we travel, but it will also change the way that we design and build future infrastructure as we harness innovation to meet current demands for an interconnected, high-performing network. A revolution, I think, is really on the horizon, and it's something that as an industry we really have to think about and begin to embrace. Transport is often regarded as inflexible and fragmented. It's plagued by a series of separate, often disconnected systems, and despite its vital relationship to economic growth and sustainability, we're yet to tackle the transport system from a holistic perspective. Quite a few people I was talking to last night were sharing their journeys here with me yesterday and about some of the travel choices they would have made if they'd just had a bit of better information about the journey. And actually we know that these things just aren't connected in the way that we would like them to be. So I think that we have to take this opportunity now to change. In fact, we must take this opportunity if we're to really better handle the future projected demands that are going to be on our networks. As a highway sector, I know that we see it as an absolute imperative to provide freer flowing, more accessible and integrated and safer network in the coming years. But to get from the current position that we're in to the proposed ideal will require new thinking and innovative solutions. Undoubtedly, our challenges are great in an increasingly connected world. Commuters are asking for a transport system that allows greater capacity, reduces congestion and journey times, and along with faster and more accurate demand information. There is no doubt that our customers readily embrace change, and they prove this to us time after time. So let's have a look at this first slide. So this is Fifth Avenue in New York in about 1900. Now, I don't know what you can see there, but I think predominantly you'll see a vast array of horses tracking up and down that particular piece of road. You can see there's a red ring around there. That red ring is the first automobile. You know, that was some innovative guy who obviously had a bit of cash and bought one of the first cars. Now move forward just to 1913 and have a look at the scene. 1915 actually, or 1913. So, just a few years later, there's not a horse in sight. And I think actually people readily embrace change much quicker than we might anticipate. I think now if you sort of wind the clock forward to now and basically have a think about smartphones and how many people use smartphones to make journeys and look at their journey time. So this is, back in 2002, if you had a smartphone, people didn't really know what you were talking about. Nowadays, 70% of commuters use a smartphone as part of their journey planning into and out of London. It is a huge revolution in the way that people access data and do things differently. But I think additionally, rapid urbanisation, increased efforts to address climate change and sustainability, changing demographics and population growth are all impacting on the design and provision of transport. Figures by Transport for London suggest that the population will grow from about 8.4 million people to 10 million people by the year 2030, which would cause congestion in central London to worsen by about 60%. Finding travel solutions for 10 million people while making our cities more livable is certainly going to require a massive transport overhaul from where we are today. But let's also think outside of London. England's strategic road network supports around about 4 million journeys a day. When we factor in the Office of National Statistics growth for our population to grow by about 20% by 2040, it just outlines the added pressure that our infrastructure will endure and just reinforces the need for us to think differently. Whilst building new roads is obviously close to many of our hearts, as it is to mine, actually I don't think this is one that we're going to be able to build our way out of. So again, we really need to think about how technology is going to change that. Above all, I think as an industry, we are faced with the challenge and the responsibility of bolstering the UK's productivity levels. This means that we've got to have access to mobility for a better quality of life, curbing some of the current problems around capacity and connectivity, which will require a paradigm shift. So we have to smarten our solutions and we have to smarten our infrastructure. Technology is moving at a rapid pace. Let's take a moment to really understand the progress that we've made as a society. Back in the 90s, Senator Al Gore talked about the information superhighway, about how people would be able to access information, they'd become a consumer as well as a provider of information. And I guess, many of us at that time probably also thought, what on earth is this guy talking about? And yet, actually, the internet is such a fundamental part of our lives, and big data and the way that we use information is obviously a core part of what we do. But we've now moved on significantly, and we now talk about something called the Internet of Things. I think this is quite interesting because analysts predict that by the end of the decade, internet-connected devices will outnumber humans on this planet by about 3 to 1. So research earlier this year predicted that there would be about 25 billion internet-connected devices by 2020. UN says that the population will be about 7.7 billion, so that means that, definitely internet-connected devices will outnumber us 3 to 1. So the phrase Internet of Things is used to cover all interconnected devices, so not just consumer goods like smartphones and tablets and lots of wearable stuff that's coming onto the market now, but it includes everything from devices used to tracking shipping, manufacturing logistics, smart utility meters, medical devices. But I think what's really interesting for us is that actually the biggest growth in internet-connected devices is actually the automotive sector that shows the highest annual increase, and for this year that's set to be about 96%. So a huge growth in vehicles that actually start to talk to the internet and share information. So what I think is that we're really moving from the experimental to the everyday, and as an industry we need to stop thinking about data simply as an IT issue, but rather as a business enabler, and one which will help transform our traditional areas of operation. We're moving towards a more digital and convergent market where your watch speaks to your phone, to your ticketing system, to your heart monitor, but also it doesn't stop there. It links to your connected car and it shares the information with the world via social networking. The exploitation of big and open data in transport is currently being used to gain a much deeper understanding of our customers' needs and to monitor infrastructure and services. We're already seeing big data being applied to things like asset maintenance, road traffic management, and the planning of public transport services. But this technology the technology added value allows us to gather and analyse data much better to meet the demands of our customers. But the thing I would say about this is that it's not just about productivity and journey times. Critically, it's also very much about safety, a subject that's very close to my heart. Technology will create a safer environment through safer vehicles, improved road design, better management of traffic, and ultimately about encouraging behavioural change. And it was great to see Highways England launch their 5-year health and safety plan just a few weeks ago, where they talked about reducing the number of people killed and seriously injured on our roads by 30% within 5 years, but also about setting the aspiration that no one will be harmed on our roads by 2040. What a fantastic aspiration for us to have. But what I thought was quite interesting about that, talking to people around the room afterwards, is that no one seemed to believe or thought that the aspiration of no one being harmed on our network was something that we could achieve. Come on, what a fantastic challenge for us to have. Why wouldn't we work to embrace that and make that happen as an industry? So it's actually something we've really got to rise to the challenge of. Right, so I just want to pause for a quick moment and think about this. So you might have picked up some of the media stuff recently that the 21st of October was Back to the Future Day, and it was a day that Marty McFly went forward to from 1955. And when he went forward to 2015, he saw lots of things. He had shoes that tied themselves, he had a hoverboard that he went around on, and he also saw flying cars move around the landscape. Now, clearly we're not quite there, but some of the other things that featured in that film, like video calls, 3D films, wearable technology, are all things that we have embraced. So, I guess why, when we look forward for the next 5 or 10 years, we would not really think about how technology is going to change the way that we drive transportation and really shape the future of that. Now, what we're talking about now, and of course a big theme for today, is all around intelligent mobility. So intelligent mobility, I think, is emphasised now as the future of transportation, and it's something that has really moved on a lot in the last 12 to 18 months. According to the Transport Systems Catapult, it's about harnessing innovation and emerging technology to create more efficient, smarter and greener transport systems. It's about taking a different approach to the challenges that have traditionally beset the transport sector and those that it is experiencing for the first time today. I guess that's quite a bit of a mouthful, actually, isn't it, in terms of what it means. But, for me, it's all about, using technology, embracing it, and making it a core part of what we deliver. And there's no doubt that the market for intelligent mobility has exploded in recent months as customers, transport authorities, businesses, and governments begin to unlock its enormous potential. It's about how we connect people, places, and goods across transportation systems, mode agnostic. It's about how we apply a combination of systems thinking, technology, and data at every point to inform decision-making and change the way that people behave. Intelligent mobility has the opportunity to create opportunities that will improve the current state of the transport system by creating a truly integrated platform, better positioned to deliver travel solutions in a cost-effective and efficient manner. Developments of things like mobility as a service are designed to put the customer in control, personalising journeys that reflect demand and preferences, including payment structures. So imagine having a wide range of options, a bit like a mobile phone contract. You could pay as you go, you could have a monthly contract, you could add bolt-ons, but it would all be about how you access travel. And I think that's a much more attractive model to many than the ownership model that exists today, and something that really provides the travel consumer with real choice. But this new disruptive technology is more than just about creating free-flowing multimodal networks or understanding how to make better use of our assets. It's also about the future of automotive solutions. Connected and autonomous vehicles, again, many people will be here today talking about that, are very much a reality. And the government is running 3 driverless car trials in different cities across the UK in an effort to really create market capability in this area. The full benefits of CAVs are currently being explored, but as expected, this new innovation is likely to bring about improved efficiency and safety, reduced congestion and emissions, as well as improved road design as we alter existing and design new infrastructure that harnesses the capability of these vehicles to the maximum. I think the adoption of connected and autonomous vehicles will open up a range of opportunities for services never previously imagined. And in the next 2 decades, our roads really will become the veins of our smart cities. Wireless connectivity between CAVs and urban traffic management systems will allow a continual, real-time dialogue between vehicles in the city, sharing information such as traffic conditions, incidents, and signal phasing. Overall, R&D in our sector is moving at a great pace, and I think there is a shift in innovation efficiency. So why stop at connected autonomous vehicles? Perhaps the flying cars of Marty McFly's future are not so far away after all. And actually, when you think about some of the other innovations that are going on, you may have seen this thing about Elon Musk's Hyperloop travel system, 750 miles an hour, a real concept of travel that could be the reality for the next generation of commuters. And whilst I'm a big supporter of high speed too, I do wonder why we're not looking at embracing some fantastic opportunities for the future. And this one I think is quite interesting. So a space elevator, why would we stop at thinking about what we currently do? Well, a firm in Canada has recently patented the first design for a space elevator, allowing us to get goods into space quickly. And actually, if you're really interested, there is a space elevator conference in the US next year, and it lasts for 4 days. So there must be a lot to talk about in that particular field. But I guess it's all about, thinking about the future. And whilst it's fascinating to do that, it really is only the beginning. Our sector must be ready to tackle the challenges, embrace the chance we have right now to revolutionise the transport sector. Although it's an enabler, technology is only one piece of the jigsaw. And I believe that if we're really to shape the future of transportation, there are 3 other key facets. The first is about investment in infrastructure, and there has to be a sustained and guaranteed investment in our roads and in everything else, actually, something that's necessary to give us all the confidence to invest in new technology and be creative about what we're going to do. And obviously, recent announcements from government are very supportive of that long-term investment, and long may that continue. The second for me is all about skills, and it's not necessarily about the traditional skills that we have. We're going to need to bring new skills and new thinking into our sector if we're to rise to this challenge. And for me, that's vital that as leaders of organisations, we're prepared to be bold and brave and take innovative steps in recruiting the right skills to allow this to happen. But the third, and I think this is such an important one and so relevant in terms of an event like the one we're having over the last couple of days, is all about our willingness as an industry to collaborate, to share our thinking and really boost our efforts to work collaboratively to secure the future that I know that we want for today and for tomorrow. So ladies and gentlemen, I'll finish by saying that I really do believe that the intelligent mobility revolution is upon us. It's time now to get on board this exciting journey to shape the future of transportation, or, like the horse owners of the early 1900s, just get left behind. Thank you very much.